Recording in progress.
Okay, we'll call this council meeting to order, and Mike Boudreaux is going to do our opening for us this morning.
Lord, we just want to take this moment to acknowledge you. God, again, your word teaches us that God resists the proud and gives grace to the humble. So, Lord, in humility, we appeal to you to bless our community. Lord, bless the men and women in this room and others that are maybe watching through Zoom that do so much for this community. Bless them. Bless their families. God, give them creative and imaginative ideas to make things even better. And Lord, we want you to be glorified in this place. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Shannon.
Councilman Kowalski?
Yes.
Councilman McAwee?
Yes.
Councilman Spear?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes. Mike, would you like to
Yeah, I
address
just want to take a moment. Again, I want to thank everybody in this room that really makes us a pretty good community to live in. I want to invite you to the prayer breakfast that's going to be coming up Tuesday, April 19th. That's a Tuesday. I think Ambrose was probably here 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Told me he was coming to the council meeting. I said, Ambrose, you'll do a better job than that. But if you guys can come, we're just going to take a time to hopefully to encourage you. And then actually, we do actually pray at a prayer breakfast. So if you can join us, I'd appreciate it. And I believe you're going to appreciate it. So
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
It's a very uplifting time, so.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for all you're doing to do it, to make it work.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other visitors who would like to address the council that are not on the agenda? Okay. Minutes of the regular city council meeting of March 7th, 2022.
I move we approve the meeting minutes from March 7th, 2022.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spear?
Yes.
Councilman McAwee?
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes. Consideration of agenda?
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman McAwee?
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski?
Yes.
Councilman Spear?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes. Agenda item number 1 is public hearing. A motion to open this public hearing for 216 Spring Street, a 353 redevelopment agreement. I need a motion.
I make a motion to open the public hearing regarding the development agreement for 216 Spring Street.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Kowalski?
Yes.
Councilman Spear?
Yes.
Councilman McAwee?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan?
Yes.
Mayor Powell?
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. The Community Development Department has for your consideration this evening in Chapter 353 tax abatement application for commercial property at 216 Spring Street. It's owned by Susan Blazer and Brittany Blazer and is now the Casa de Vite business, which is an event venue and wine tasting bar. The property once housed the Hope Funeral Home, and the building is a contributing resource to our Hall of Waters Commercial West District. Improvements are very extensive and include a complete finishing of the interior spaces to accommodate the event venue and wine bar, including replacement of roofs, gutters, and downspouts, repair of stone and masonry, replacement of an exterior deck, restoration of historic wood windows, replacement of doors, new HVAC, electrical and plumbing, fire detection system, and replacement of a water line. The Historic Preservation Commission has reviewed and approved applications for certificates of appropriateness for all aspects of this project. And the Excelsior Springs Redevelopment Corporation approved the application on March 10th of this year. The project has a total eligible cost of $359,000 and qualifies for a 10-year tax abatement at 100%, 5-year tax abatement then at 50%, and an additional 5 years or $5,000 abatement due to the replacement of a water line. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about this project and this application.
No questions? Okay, a
No.
motion. You have a question?
No.
Oh, okay. A motion to close the public hearing.
I move that we close the public hearing for 216 Spring Street, 353 development.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman McAwee.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Okay, now I need to have a motion to place the ordinance number 220307 approving the 216 Spring Street project amendment to the amended development plan submitted by the Excelsior Springs Redevelopment Corporation, authorizing certain tax abatements for the project area and approving a redevelopment agreement.
I move we take ordinance number 22-03-07 for the 353 redevelopment agreement at 216 Spring Street to second reading.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman McAwee,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Okay, we have a motion to approve ordinance number 22-03-07, approving the 216 Spring Street project amendment to the amended development plan submitted by the Excelsior Springs Redevelopment Corporation, authorizing certain tax abatements for the project area and approving a redevelopment agreement.
I move that we approve ordinance number 22-03-07 for the consideration of 353 redevelopment agreement for 216 Spring Street.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman McAwee,
Yes.
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Agenda item number 3 is a motion to place ordinance 220308, authorizing the city to enter into an agreement with Pullman SST Incorporated for the Hall of Waters SAT Grant Repair Project.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. We're excited to bring to you this evening a contract, a consideration for agreement of this contract. We went out to bid on Save America's Treasures and the grant work that we would be completing, and we had three bids come in. After a careful audit of all of those bids, we are pleased this evening to bring forward to you the Pullman SST Incorporated bid. It's in the amount of $671,100, I believe, and would answer any questions you might have on the project.
No questions? Then the motion to approve ordinance number 220308, authorizing the city to enter into an agreement with Pullman SST Incorporated for the Hall of Waters SAT Grant Repair Project.
I move that we take ordinance number 22-03-08 for the consideration of agreement with Pullman SST Incorporated for the Hall of Waters SAT Grant Repair Project to second reading.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman McAwee,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, we have
One
to
more
approve it
reading.
now.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Motion to approve
So
ordinance
excited.
220308, authorizing the city to enter into an agreement with Pullman SST Incorporated for the Hall of Waters SAT Grant Repair Project.
I move we approve ordinance number 22-03-08, consideration of agreement with Pullman SST Inc. for the Hall of Waters SAT Grant Repair Project.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Councilman McAwee,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Yes, now I'm excited.
Now you can be excited.
I will tell you that we have our first meeting. If it was approved this evening, we'll be meeting on site on the 28th to discuss staging and timing,
Okay.
noise.
Yes. Well, looking forward to getting it started so we can get it finished.
We are too.
Our agenda item number 4 is a presentation by Melinda Mahaffey for the Community Development Annual Report.
Good evening again, Mayor and members of the council. So it's that time of year where we are required to give our planning and zoning annual report. And it's hard to encapsulate what amount of work we do throughout the year, and our ordinance requires us to make the annual planning and zoning report. We incorporate our report with everything that our department works on because we are such a fluid department, and everybody in the department works on so much of all of the different work that we do. So we are pleased to be able to share this with you this evening. So many of you may not know all of our team members. Laura Mize, who was here earlier, is still here, is somebody that you've met at our council meetings. Laura's our neighborhood specialist, and she assists us not only in neighborhood work, but communities for all ages, 353, historic preservation. She works in all of our historic preservation neighborhoods. She's recently hosted a housing conference to assist individuals that are searching for assistance in completing work on their homes. She is developing our Neighbors Helping Neighbors program. She's working on a community land trust option for us. And so she does a number of different projects, and we really utilize Laura when we are looking for ways to help residents who have a need that they can't complete themselves without assistance. And she does a phenomenal job of that. Mike is our building inspector, and he has just entered his 9th year with us. If you've not had a project in the community and you've not done a project even at your own home, you may not ever meet Mike. But Mike takes his job very seriously. He has been working diligently this past year to get us through to the approval of the 2018 ICC codes, and has been doing quite a bit of training this year as well. Lisa is sitting between Mike and Brandon there in the photo. Lisa's the individual you typically speak to when you call our office or when you come into our counter. She's also the secretary for Planning and Zoning, the Historic Preservation Commission, and the Board of Zoning Adjustments. She writes their minutes, she manages their meetings, and she does all of the contact with them to help arrange that. She also completes our certified local government report that we have to send to the State Historic Preservation Office. Lisa took that job on when she got here. Prior to that, Sonia Morgan completed that report for years and years and years, and it was our intention to take that off of a council member and actually have a team member who could do that. And Lisa does a beautiful job with it. Brandon is our newest employee. He's our code compliance officer. He started with us in January, and his first year has been fairly busy with training and jumping in to take care of everything outside of our historic preservation districts. So our goal in this particular division is that we have voluntary compliance whenever possible. We'd rather not take you to court and have you fined. We'd rather you spend the money that would have been a fine on fixing the improvement that needs to be made. He has a voluntary compliance rate in 2021 of 86%, meaning that 86% of his cases were able to be completed without having to take somebody to court. So Brandon does a great job of talking with individuals and actually goes out and meets with individuals to talk about what needs to happen to make changes. So this next graphic, it shows you some of the projects we undertook in the past year. So our team sets up every January or February, and we talk about different projects that we've done. And this is not all of them. This is just a portion of them, but it's never so evident as to, we don't, as a department, we don't always get to determine what our workload is. And that was never so obvious as it was in June of this last year, as we went through a major storm, a flood, and a collapsed building all within 20 days. So our department actually has more than 2,600 calls annually. We manually track those this year. Our new phone system now will allow us to track those easier. And our calls aren't simply answering a question and hanging up, but rather require us to do research, get answers, provide directions, set up meetings so that we can assist our residents and developers. We've had more than 1,200 individuals come to our counter to apply and pay for permits, ask questions, and gather information. And additionally, we had 2 weeks where our staffing was cut to just 1 employee to run the entire department due to required absences. Last year, we wrote 795 permits, which is a 24% growth over 2020. The value of those permits was $18,684,044 in permit value. If you were to back out Cornerstone School's permit and the community center permit values from 2020 and 2015, respectively, we would have the highest permit value that we've had since 2008. In the past 5 years, we've permitted more than $86 million in work. So 795 permits. Each permit requires multiple inspections. So, as an example, I finished the basement in my house this year, and I required no less than 5 inspections. A brand new single-family home that is being built requires a minimum of 17 to 20 inspections. Commercial projects vary, but you can imagine that the increase is substantial. So, for an example, Cornerstone Elementary required more than 135 inspections and daily visits to the site. So we committed to providing our inspector to be at their site every day from 1:30 to 2:30 in the afternoon, so that the general contractor, if he needed to pull all of his contractors together, he didn't need to worry about when we could be there. He knew we would be there between 1:30 and 2:30 to meet with whomever he wanted us to meet with. So that was something that we offered to the larger projects. We offered that to Danny Miller at Miller Cabinets, and he just didn't feel like he needed to utilize that service. So he rather just called when he had questions and then still scheduled all of his inspections. So permits for new construction also require review by our third-party inspector, our own department through our inspector, our fire department, our police department, and public works, and myself as the department director. We hold pre-development meetings and pre-planning meetings to streamline our efforts and to assist in that development. We've received very positive feedback from individuals since we've started the pre-development meetings. So when we have a larger project, and we have one this week, we'll bring the developer in and we're looking at the site plan and we're saying, I don't see that we can get a fire truck around the back of the building, so we need to alter that before you go too far into your planning process. Or we require that stormwater detention be on site and you're noting that you want it to be off site. We can't allow that. And so we have those conversations early in the process so that we can work through that process and streamline the efforts for them. Planning and zoning heard a number of issues in 2021. We had 2 preliminary plats, 4 final plats, 2 zoning text amendments, 4 special use permits, 2 vacations of right-of-ways or easements, and 2 lot splits. So that graph just kind of shows you exactly what that looks like. The Board of Zoning Adjustments is, this is a board that you really don't want to have to use often. It's there. It's only to be used when there's a particular physical surrounding or topographical issue. It's not a man-made issue. So the board has to determine if the hardship has been created by a person having an interest in the property at any time, not necessarily just the current owner, but any owner. The change isn't detrimental to the neighborhood or the public welfare, and the change won't impair the supply of light to neighboring properties, substantially increase dangers for fire, or diminish or impair property values of the surrounding businesses or properties. So that is something we use when we have a case. We've used it in the past where somebody might need to put a ramp in their house for access because they can no longer use their stairs, and they need to put it at the front of the property, and topographically they couldn't put it at the back of the property because of the slope of the backyard, and you would have a 3-mile run to try and get your grade down to where it needed to be. So in that particular case, we had 2 of those cases come up at the same time. And our Board of Zoning Adjustment heard those cases, but they also heard us say, we're a community for all ages, and we believe that we need to make this simple for people. So it actually created a zoning text amendment change through planning and zoning so we could address that issue. Historic preservation continues to be really busy. You can see this from the graph. We are seeing improvements in our historic district. We're really excited about the work that's been done. Some of the projects that came forward this last year include a major improvement to a home along Elms Boulevard that has been greatly appreciated by neighbors. and a new mural along Thompson Avenue into one of the newest pocket parks. Our certificates of appropriateness continue to remain steady. We had 42 cases this year. So one of the more important things that a Historic Preservation Commission is to do is, instead of just hearing certificates of appropriateness, it's to educate and to recognize individuals. So we started a number of years ago creating the Historic Preservation Commission Awards for an outstanding commercial redevelopment and an outstanding residential development process. So this last year in May, which is Historic Preservation Month, we recognized Brad and Brenda Ills for the amazing work they did at 120 East Broadway. They took a building that had only been partially used over the past 40 years and made improvements that added 2 businesses. Larry and Linda Krause and Kenny Manley both made significant improvements in the Hall of Waters and boarding house districts, respectively. The Krauses continue to work on their private residence, which they own, and Mr. Manley sold the home that he renovated, and it is now a single-family home with new ownership. So we're currently seeking nominations for this year's awards, which we'll give in May. So if you know of a project in the historic district where you've seen significant improvements and you'd like to have that person recognized, we'd ask that you let us know. Laura or I, either one, can help you with that. So our Neighborhoods Division also has the Code Compliance Division to it. And in 2021, we hired Brandon Carty. He's our new Code Compliance Officer. And his cases generally run either nuisance or zoning cases. More than 70% of our nuisance cases are weeds, junk, and debris. Those are the items that are easy to see and really hard to get compliance with, because some people don't see junk and debris as junk and debris. So we have very clear rules and regulations, and I will tell you that Brandon and Laura in our historic district work really closely with residents to make those improvements. Our other code cases are zoning cases. So these are cases where it's a zoning issue, it's a signage issue, it's parking on the lawn, or it's the storage of equipment. So those are the types of cases that we find with zoning. This would also include, though, business licensing. So our department actually works with businesses that don't have licenses. I believe we had 29 stop works last year where individuals started working and either forgot to come and get a permit, or in some cases never intended to, and were forced to stop work and come get their permits. It's an ongoing issue that we tend to have, and one we'll be asking to find a solution for in the near future. So it's difficult. It takes a lot of time, and you have to hunt people down. I will tell you that Lisa spends probably 4 to 8 hours every month calling people saying, you have a permit, you haven't picked up yet, you need to come pay for it, you shouldn't have started your work yet. And so we spend a significant amount of time just chasing after people who have open permits. In economic development, our 353 abatement project, we had one in 2021. The eligible costs were $267,285.67. They added a retail space and a short-term rental in this project. And this year was the year that the Clay County government said, hey, we need to change our process, and we need you to have all of your abatement projects to us by May 1st. So that means we have a March 15 deadline for individuals who want to qualify for those abatements, because we have Laura has a significant amount of work that she does to make sure that we're looking at eligible expenses on these projects. The amount of investment in our historic districts, which is where our 353 is eligible, has been significant and an amazing project to watch happen. So we started this project in August of 2018, so we've only been at it a short while, but we've seen significant improvements. In 2021, we completed some major economic development projects, which included Miller's Custom Cabinets, which was a Keystone Award winner with the Clay County EDC. Scooters, which was a redevelopment of a parcel of land that had not been fully used for a number of years. A renovation that was in the millions of dollars with our local grocer, Price Chopper, and an expansion of a new space for the animal clinic. Dr. Rucker was able to move into a much larger space and utilize more and offer more services to the animals in our community. So we have a number of confidential projects that we're not able to talk about, and people hate to hear an economic developer say that, but we have no less than 6 commercial projects right now that we anticipate would be more than $54 million in growth. We anticipate some of those coming forward this year, and we're very excited about those. We also have 2 subdivision conversations that are currently taking place, and we're looking at some additional creative ways to add housing. So we spent hundreds of hours from May to August working on the collapse of the Royal Hotel and subsequently its demolition. Of course, the hardest projects happens on holiday weekends or late on Fridays, which really did happen in June on Fridays. And in some of those cases, it's 18 to 20-hour work days during the initial stage, and it's managing expectations and talking to a lot of different state departments to make sure that we're completing the necessary steps. I'd been saying for a number of years and had been searching for a number of years for what do you do when a building collapses, because when you own old buildings in your community, it's just a matter of time before that happens. And we had been out asking communities like Clinton, Missouri, and Savannah, Missouri, and St. Joe, and Liberty, and at Kansas City, what is your process? And nobody had a written process that they could share with us. So we got to write our process this year. We took some pretty copious notes, but I'm here to tell you that there were so many steps and so many hoops we had to jump through, and we could not have done this without partners like Public Works, who were there in minutes to close down roads for us. The police department, who came and stayed because it was the 4th of July weekend and we were scared that somebody was going to show up with an M160 and go, watch this, and it was going to cause a problem. So they provided around-the-clock protection. The fire department, when we couldn't get the water pressure we needed because we had to do a wet demolition, the fire department sent a truck and an employee to be present at all times while we were working. We could not do projects like that without all of those partners, and we have a really good team of individuals that we get to work with here. And everybody stepped forward and worked really hard to make sure that our residents were safe, that the process came down as smoothly as possible. At the time, the property owner, we talked, I can't even tell you how many times a day, sometimes at 6:30 in the morning and sometimes at 11 o'clock at night. It was whatever he needed to make sure he knew every step of the way what we were doing, because I never wanted somebody to say, well, I didn't know. And so that was a really hard project for us. And to have that project come at the end of floods and at high winds was really hard for the team. But Mike stepped up and he showed up on a Saturday morning, and we worked all day just checking on houses to make sure after the storm that people were okay. And so there's a lot of work to be done. Our department is your floodplain management team as well, so whenever there's flooding, we also have to work on that. This is our organizational chart. It kind of gives you an idea as to how we work and what we do. We have planning and zoning, building trades and neighborhoods, and then administration. So that just really shows you what it is we do. And then this next slide shows you our staff. Our planner left us for private sector work on March 19th. So we'll be hiring this position again. You will see 2 positions being listed. You'll see a planner and a senior planner. The senior planner position requires less oversight and would be ideal based on the amount of work that we have coming forward. However, we're going to see what skill level our applicants bring to us to see where we would need to be hiring. But we will only be hiring 1 planner. So should you be asked, we are only hiring 1 person. We're just advertising to see the skill level of those individuals that we can get. And we'll do quite a bit of recruitment to try and find the right team member, because we have an amazing team, and we really want to keep that going, and look forward to working with the city and all of our residents in the coming year. We have lots going on. and I would answer any questions that you may have.
Great presentation. I think
Thank you.
you covered so much information. It's wonderful to be able to hear that in one, flowing.
Well, I'm not sure about
Summary.
flowing. There's a lot that we didn't get to talk about that we do, just because there's just so much of what we do.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you.
I'll also recommend that, since I get to work with you all a lot, to your whole department, that you all do a good job.
Thank
And-
you.
And it's easy to work with you all, and you work with us to try to make things happen.
I appreciate that.
So-
We've had some really good conversations recently where
Mhm.
even out-of-town contractors come in and we hear after every one of our pre-development meetings, man, that really streamlines it. So like, is it gonna be 16 months? And we're like, a couple weeks. And so we get really good response that you can walk into a room and have, you can talk to the public works director, you can talk to the fire chief or a representative of the fire department.
Because that don't happen in Kansas City.
No. And our goal is to be the ombudsman and help make things move forward.
Yep, no, you all do a good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Agenda item number 5 is a discussion on the annual update on the city's MS4 stormwater programs. Chad?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. A new requirement of our current Missouri State operating permit for our MS4 stormwater program is to give an annual report to the City Council on the status of the program and to keep them informed on what is being done and how the program is being implemented. Our stormwater coordinator, Nate Conyers, is here tonight, and along with our consultant, Christina Lubert with Lubert Engineering, work together to keep us in compliance on the regulations for the state operating permit. At this time, Nate will give us a little presentation on an update on information for our program from 2021 up to March of 2022. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them now or afterwards, or any time further than that. So, Nate, podium is yours.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, City Council. This is all I got. I don't have all the slides and all that stuff, so.
Well, you don't have her budget either. So.
Yes, that's very true. So as you may remember, the city applied for municipal separate storm sewer permit, MS4, renewal last March. This permit was issued by the MDNR, Missouri Department of Natural Resources, in November. In both the old and the new permit, the city is required to take steps for reducing non-point source pollution from stormwater runoff. These steps are divided into 6 areas: public outreach and education, public involvement, illicit discharge, detection and elimination, construction site runoff control, post-construction runoff control, and good housekeeping in municipal operations. A new requirement is to provide the City Council with an annual update of the status of the program. For many years, the city has had an active public outreach and education program where they have distributed information about stormwater quality protection in the public. We continue to encourage the residents to properly manage and dispose of yard waste, pet waste, household hazardous waste, litter, and always remember, only rain down the drain. In 2021, Excelsior Springs residents disposed of over 16,000 pounds of household hazardous waste through the Metro-wide collection program. The city will be hosting a mobile collection event for household hazardous waste this coming fall. COVID has made it difficult to do some of our usual education efforts, but have had very successful litter pickup event along the Fishing River in April. This event resulted in cleaning up approximately 3 miles of riverbank, stream bank, and much of the contributing watershed to the downtown area. By 40 volunteers, they collected 32 large bags of trash, 59 small mesh cleanup bags of trash, 3 tires, 6 large pickup truck F-550 loads of bulky items, which was things from anywhere from bicycles to you name it, it was down there. We are pleased with how hard the local contractors have worked to reduce the potential for pollution from their construction sites. The city staff has spent a lot of time and effort to educate these contractors over recent years, and it shows. 3 active construction sites were inspected 61 times over the course of the last year, and there were 0 complaints from the public about sediment in the streets. Developers have also installed long-term stormwater quality controls. Last year, 3 new long-term best management practices were installed or under construction. I also did extensive outreach with 27 owners on 45 existing BMPs, educating them on their option and maintenance obligations after completing successful inspections of their facilities. The city continues to spend time training existing staff and new hires on good housekeeping procedures for stormwater quality protections. 20 staff members were trained last year. We also worked to reduce pollutants on the roads by performing regular street sweeping, 740 miles, litter pickup, 186 bags, and storm sewer system inspections. The city makes sure that wastewater collection systems is not a possible source of illicit discharge through CCTV inspections of their system. They cambered 8,329 feet of sewer. We are pleased that the new salt shed will also help reduce potential pollution. We will continue to review the municipal operations to ensure we are not a source of potential water pollution. Any questions or concerns?
I think it was a few years ago, there was an effort, and I seem to remember it was like a high school group or something. They came around and painted on the storm
and
drains.
a lot of times we do that, and that's part of our public involvement, and we also use it as public outreach. And a lot of times it goes through the Boy Scouts.
It was a nice visual reminder.
Yeah, and we try, but again, because of the COVID thing, it's
Right.
like I've tried to reach out, but a lot of times we go to the schools and do a little, program for them and demonstration of, because a lot of people, and just not children, but a lot of people in general just don't understand. They think, a storm box or a grate that's connected to sanitary sewer, which it is not. So it's even stuff just as simple as that can make a big difference. So we're hoping with regulations getting pushed back and relaxed that we can start getting that going again.
Okay.
Even a touch truck was one where, that could count for public involvement, public education. So hopefully we'll get that stuff going. Okay, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item number 6 is a motion to approve a resolution 1331 authorizing the withdrawal from the Midwest Public Risk of Missouri Coverage Pool.
We are doing a risk management analysis of our property and casualty insurance coverages, and with the completion of that analysis, there were several observations or recommendations that were offered to us regarding our expected loss ratios, coverage limits for individual policies, specifically about our earthquake, flood, business interruption, direction of defense counsel, and sovereign immunity. And they also a listing of where we might need additional insurance or amendment of any specific clauses. So we are in the process now of seeking quotes for that business, and should hopefully resolve that in the next couple of months. Our insurance year begins July 1st. So we also will be considering proposals from NPR, Midwest Public Risk, as well, and we've had great service from them over a number of years, and would be pleased to continue.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay. A motion to approve the resolution 1331 authorizing the withdrawal from Midwest Public Risk of Missouri Coverage Pool.
I move we approve resolution number 1331, consideration of withdrawal from NPR coverage pool.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman McAwee,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Agenda item number 7, motion to approve a resolution number 1332, approving the purchase of a variance frequency drive for the golf course from Davis Equipment Corporation, DBA Turfworks, in the amount of $38,073.33. Frank?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. The golf course irrigation system uses a variable frequency drive to control the irrigation pumps, and it has failed. The pump station was originally installed in the early 1990s and has received one upgrade over a decade ago and is no longer supported by the manufacturer. An evaluation of the Flotronics system was conducted by Andy Jones with NUCO, which I have attached in the site report, providing you with a background of the irrigation system. I also had Matt Presley with Presley Solutions evaluate the system, both of them having the same diagnosis. Replacement of the failed VFD alone for a cost of $9,500 is considered a Band-Aid approach. If the antiquated control panel fails in the middle of the summer with a replacement time of approximately 5 weeks, it would be detrimental for course conditions, likely resulting in widespread turf loss and lost revenues for possibly years to come. We've sought additional information and have received quotes from 3 different irrigation specialists. NUCO, which is MCI and Flotronics, and what we have in-house now, is nearly $75,000. Rainbird came in at $60,000, and Turfworks with Presley Solutions came in just over $38,000. Key considerations for the selection of Turfworks and Presley Solutions are not solely based on cost, but include the following. Replacement of the failed BFD to get us up and running and keep us on schedule with aerification while not affecting April tournaments. The installation of the full panel will occur in approximately 5 weeks and will include 2 additional VFDs. We will have a VFD for each pump at that point, and if a VFD fails again in the future, we'll still have the operational of 1 pump. A touchscreen control panel with point-to-point network availability, allowing remote access to pump controls. The inclusion of an AC cooled cabinet instead of a heat exchanger, which is more difficult to maintain, and it uses the water from the pond to cool the cabinet. So that's an upgrade with Turfworks as well. We strongly recommend being proactive in selecting the proposal of Turfworks and Presley Solutions for $38,073.33, utilizing ARPA funding for a full panel replacement. Do you have any questions?
The old system's how old?
It was put in '93. There was an upgrade done. Raccoons got into it and fried the panel. So, I mean, anything can happen at any point in time. And with the current panel no longer being supported, I don't know what year that happened. It was before I got here. So, I think it happened.
It served
10
its
to 12
life
years ago.
purpose.
Excuse me?
It served its life purpose at 30 years.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, a motion to approve Resolution 1332, approving the purchase of a variable frequency drive for the golf course from Davis Equipment Corporation, DBA Turfworks, in the amount of $38,073.33.
I move we approve resolution number 1332 for the consideration of golf irrigation system pump VFD replacement.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman McElwee,
Yeah.
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Agenda item number 8 is a motion to approve a resolution 1333 for the purchase of handheld narcotics analyzer in the amount of $27,349.64.
Good
And
evening,
are
Mayor
you-
Powell and members of the council. I am requesting the purchase of the Thermo TruNarc handheld narcotics analyzer. This device tests for almost 500 substances, including narcotics, stimulants, depressants, hallucinogenics, analgesics, precursors, etc. Notably, it allows testing of these substances without direct contact, making it much safer for our officers. Additionally, the TruNarc device has been recognized by Missouri courts as being a presumptive test for evidentiary purposes. Currently, for example, if an officer stops somebody on the street and arrests them for suspected methamphetamine, they do a field test, and that's enough to arrest them, but that substance has to be recovered and forwarded to a crime lab for more thorough testing. That process takes anywhere from 8 months to a year right now, maybe more. And then once you get that results back, then you can issue a warrant for that subject, and that could take a period of time before you actually are able to locate that individual and arrest them. So the TruNarc device will speed that process up exponentially. They'll be able to arrest and charge the individual within 24 hours. So it speeds everything up. So I am requesting that this device be purchased utilizing ARPA funding in the amount of $27,349.64.
Any questions?
Does it require training, or is
It comes with some training. It's not a super technical device, but the purchase of it does come with the training.
Just out of curiosity, how long does that solution kit last? Is that going to be an ongoing cost afterwards?
That's a good question. I do not have the answer for that. I can check. I think it lasts for a fairly long time.
Okay.
And the price of that does include an additional year of hardware warranty, just in case.
It's amazing technology.
It is.
And no other questions? We will have a motion to approve resolution number 1333 for the purchase of a handheld narcotics analyzer in the amount of $27,349.64.
I move that we approve resolution number 1333 for the Thermo Scientific TruNarc handheld narcotics analyzer purchase.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman McElwee,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
good luck.
Welcome.
You're next.
I have the next
You
item too. So.
No, agenda item number 9 is a motion to approve a resolution 1334, approving the destruction of certain police records in accordance with established city protocol and procedures.
Yes, this is a pretty straightforward request. Police department the records unit is in need of storage space for police records that are currently being generated. According to city ordinance and state statute, those police records that have met their established retention periods may be destroyed. We have a number of police records that have met those requirements, as outlined in Missouri Municipal Records Manual and under RSMO 109.230 subsection 4. So we are seeking to have those records destroyed by shredding. The scheduled date for the shredding is March 25th, 2022. And additionally, if approved, the destruction of those records must be recorded in the minutes of the city council meeting.
Any questions? Okay, motion to approve a resolution number 1334, approving the destruction of certain police records in accordance with established city protocol and procedures.
Make a motion that we approve resolution number 1334, consideration of destruction of police records.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman McElwee,
Yes.
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan,
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Agenda item number 10 is a motion putting in ordinance number 220309, authorizing the destruction of certain municipal records.
Mayor, members of the council, and these are the destruction of records from community development, the finance department, human resources, and the fire department. And so you have a list in there that shows you the different files that we are destroying, and they all meet the Missouri Records Manual retention schedule. And I felt like I should just say same. And those will be destroyed on March 25th as well. Would answer any questions you may have.
Can I ask a silly question? Why is
Absolutely.
one a resolution
Yeah.
and the other one's an ordinance?
I think
I don't know.
I don't know, can you help us with that?
I didn't have any role in preparing either, so I can't
Okay.
speak to
Yeah.
it.
I
Okay.
think I
noticed the
did
same
an
thing.
ordinance because that's what we did when we did it 2 years ago, so I think I just updated
So it
an
wasn't a
ordinance,
silly
so.
question.
No,
No,
no.
Okay.
Didn't have a real answer, but.
Melinda, is there any time that we need to cross-check with Clay County recommendations for record retention, or do we just use state of Missouri?
so we use the state, and there are actually 2 different schedules we use. There's the general schedule, and then there's the local government schedule. And so we actually use both of those schedules and compare the local municipal schedule as well as, and then in our case, in community development's case, we're not allowed to destroy historic preservation
Right.
records, historic, but like, we don't destroy anything that pertains to this building. So we have a little bit different requirements that we have to follow. So we follow pretty closely, but we have not followed Clay County's.
We also noticed when we were preparing this that some offices had much older schedules, or some that were just a few years out of date, and those schedules are changing. So that was, we all got on the same page with the same most recent to make sure we were destroying what the most current requirements were. But that was something we just hadn't noticed until we were just deep into this.
There's a lot of documents to be destroyed this time because we're really catching up and taking care of records that perhaps have never been destroyed.
Okay, a motion to place ordinance 220309 authorizing the destruction of certain municipal records.
I move we take ordinance number 220309, consideration of destruction of certain municipal records, to second reading.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman McElwee,
Yep.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Motion to approve ordinance number 220309, authorizing the destruction of certain municipal records.
I move we approve ordinance number 22-03-09, consideration of the destruction of certain municipal records.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Councilman McElwee,
Yep.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 11, a motion to place ordinance 220310, allowing claims and appropriations to pay the same by issuing checks out of the various funds of the city. Vonda, do you? It sounded different because we have new words.
Sorry.
I didn't just say
New
appropriations.
You see me get up and go sit back down.
Yeah, you weren't here last week when we made the change.
I wasn't. I'm going to have to get caught up. Yeah. Appropriations that was presented in our packet is for a 2-week period. Appropriations on March 2nd, 2022, $460,998.18. And appropriations on March 9th, 22, $225,579.97. And payroll on March 15th of 22, $357,410.81, for total appropriations for your approval, $1,043,988.96.
Okay, a motion to place ordinance 220310, allowing claims and appropriating to pay the same by issuing checks out of various funds of the city.
I move we take ordinance number 22-03-10, consideration of appropriations, to second reading.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman McElwee,
Yep.
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Okay, motion to approve ordinance number 220310, allowing the claims and appropriating to pay the same by issuing checks out of the various funds of the city.
I move that we approve ordinance number 22-03-10, consideration of appropriations.
Second.
Roll call, Shannon?
Councilman McElwee,
Yep.
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, remarks by city manager?
Just to bring your attention to, we have scheduled a listening post that pertains to dangerous dogs and breed ban. If anyone has an interest in that, please attend. It's on March 31st at the community center. I believe it's from 6 to 8. And we've tried to identify a broad panel to be able to cover the subject and provide lots of conversation about the topic, so.
It's also band night,
I know.
so.
I don't know what time band night starts, but.
Isn't it
thinking
start at
that
6?
Maybe we're dealing with different populations of interest, but.
Right, well, I will be at band night.
I will
but
say I
think
I
it's at
was
6
first.
o'clock. So, okay,
So band night's on the same night with the listing post.
yes, yes. Sonia?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Stephen?
Just reiterating the heart that arrived here in Excelsior, and as I understand it, there's actually a map that you can go and take your photos.
Actually, there
There's
is
an
an
app.
app, if you go to Google or the App Store and put in Parade of Hearts, you can download
Oh,
the
very
app.
cool.
And it'll list them all. I understand that there may be some kind of prizes for people that visit all of them, if you are so inclined. And so.
Let us know how that goes, Stephen.
Huh?
What?
Let me know how that goes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But anyway, the app is really easy to download, and then you can see
I was
everything.
hoping you would drive.
And also on the app, it'll tell you about the artist of each one of
Yes.
them and all of that, so very interesting. Do you have something, Brent?
I'm good tonight.
Andrew?
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Oh, I think I have nothing either.
Okay.
So we shall be, but we gotta adjourn a special way here.
For our closed session.
I need a motion to close the regular city council meeting pursuant to section 610.021.2 RSMO.
I move to close the meeting pursuant to section 610.021-2 RSMO.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, Shannon, would you please call roll?
Councilman Kowalski,
Yes.
Councilman McAwee,
Yes.
Councilman Spear,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morgan.
Yes.
Mayor Powell.
Yes. Motion passes. We'll go into closed session.